there's a couple of topics that I was going to end with here. So after deciding why you write, I wanted to talk, I did talk a little bit about organization. So I'll mention a few more things about that in a little bit more detail. So we did have these collections, sub-collections. So it's almost like, I think of it as different workflows that you choose personally to organize and link your citations to one another. So part of the challenge is that you have, after a while, hundreds of citations. And so how can I find the things that I'm looking for on a certain topic? So I just had started using collections because that was sort of the way I was doing it originally. And so I've continued doing that and sort of broken topics into in that way. But you could just as easily use tags or the connection feature. What is it called? Related feature. So I use a combination of collections and tags. And so I'll point out, so I talked about the collections and how you can add new ones here, and you can make them sub-collections and move them around and rename them and things like that. Here is something interesting though as well. So these are all the tags that are associated with your library. So if I wanted to search for all the articles that have this tag, I can just click on it, right? And a lot of these tags, like I mentioned, they come in with the articles. So it's interesting. It can be good or bad. If you don't like the tag, then you have a bunch of stuff that you don't need. So that's one way to sort of gather your site, organize and find stuff and search for stuff. You can change the sort of behavior of this little window if you want. What I do more than that though is, say I have an article that I want to tag in some way, I'll just add a tag. So, you can call that whatever you want. And so that allows me to sort of have a sub collection in a way that, like, maybe I don't want to have a whole nother collection. I'm doing something really quickly and I just wanted to add a couple of tags to like 4 or 5 articles. So I don't forget that they're the ones that I found for this little search that I did. I don't use it extensively, but I do use it. Related to that is the related tab. So I haven't used this a whole lot either, but it is an interesting way to think about doing a workflow. So when I click that, I can find an article. And so what I'm saying is this article is related to this article, right? And so, I mean, this really reminds me of something like a concept map, right? So you could have every time, and that's what occurs when you're writing and when you're reading, like, wow, that really reminds me of something else that's related to this other article. So you can just denote that really quickly in your library here too. So another way that I've seen a lot of people work is using notes. So since I have my PDFs usually as much as I can stored inside of Zotero, I can double click on the PDF. I won't do it right now because it'll bring up a window and be in the way. But say I'm reading my article on a different screen, I can go ahead and take notes on that article right in the library, in the citation for that article. So I can copy and paste quotes. I can do tags like I did before. I can do my own summaries and things like that. So I used this feature extensively last semester when we were doing short summaries of the articles every semester in, I don't remember I think it was 814 is the number. So when I wanted to do a summary of each article, I just typed it in here. And when I was ready, I went to each article and pasted that into my final deliverable. This is a pretty powerful text editor. And so it has a lot of features here. And you can also open this in a separate window somewhere. So if I wanted to have this on a separate screen, it's really useful as well. So that allows you to, some ways to sort of organize and filter your collections. We're getting a little close to the end of the hour, so I will I will skip sort of questions for this, and maybe we'll do some at the end.